Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. I'm Teresa Whipple and Steve Willits. Welcome back after your time in Houston.
Yeah, we were away for a while.
We were.
And quite a bit happened while we were gone,
my
by the way.
gosh, we had so much going on.
And some of it was in Houston, which we'll talk about in a few minutes.
And that was so ironic on so many levels, but we will talk about that. But meanwhile, we have a new sponsor.
I was noticing that.
Yes.
Red Onion Burgers is the new sponsor for This Week in High School Sports, located at 212th and 44th in Mount Lake Terrace.
Yep.
Best shakes around, by the way. I'm just going to say that right now. But yeah, Sean Richards, the owner of Red Onion, stepped up to help us out. And amongst other things, they do online catering. You can order online. Great place to go eat burgers and other item menus. And I even went in there the other day and they let me sample one of the items that they're working on, maybe putting on a menu in the future. So we certainly appreciate them for all they do. And I know they do a lot with the community as well.
They do. And if you want to order online, by the way, it's redonionburgers.com. And Sean Richards is known for his support of the community, and they have something called Dining for Dollars. If you're a group that wants to do fundraising, contact Sean at Red Onion Burgers, and he can get you set up with a fundraiser where you get a percentage of the proceeds from the event. So thanks to Sean for your support. So Steve, speaking of Houston again, we had a pretty amazing award go out to one of our own.
Yeah, not an award necessarily. She had to earn it while in Houston, but we're still talking about...
I'm just thinking about the trophy she held up.
We're still talking about Michaela Pivic in basketball, which is weird in April, but she keeps doing amazing things.
Yes,
and
she does.
Yeah, I was down in Houston working at the Final Four, working at some of the events around the area, and I turned around as I went to get on my plane, and lo and behold, Michaela Pivic and her dad Mike were coming up behind me to get on the plane.
Small world.
Yeah, she had been selected as one of 8 female players in the nation, so some of the best players around the entire 50 states, to participate in a 3-point shooting contest, which was to be, it was put on CBS TV, so it was a national TV event. She goes down to Houston on, I guess it was on Saturday, she actually participated, and they ran this on CBS on Sunday. She wins the girls' championship, so she went up against 8 other girls that were shooting, one of which was Destiny Slocum, which is a name that a lot of folks might know up here. They went against each other in the championship. Slocum, a player out of Idaho who had committed to going to the University of Washington. She's now going to be a Maryland Terrapin instead. She decommitted, unfortunately, but a great player. Michaela goes out and beats her in the championship round, and we actually have a picture of Michaela shooting in that championship. I think we can put that up. There it is. And what they do in this competition is they also have some of the best boy players in the nation go against one another. They take the champion from the boys and the girls, and they have them do a shoot-off at the end. So Michaela ended up going against Kyle Guy, a guard out of Indianapolis who's going to be playing at the University of Virginia next year. She ends up tying Kyle. It was 19-19, and Michaela went last. She actually tied Kyle Guy with 2 balls left on her rack, had a chance to win the contest outright, missed both of the shots. They named them co-champions, and we have a picture there that we can put up also of Kyle and Michaela being presented with their awards. So national champion Michaela Pivic now? She has a different title every time. It's All-American, it's Gatorade Player of the Year. She's going to play basketball at Oregon State next year. Just a phenomenal young lady. And every time I think we're done talking Michaela Pivic basketball, something else pops up. This might be the last time for a while.
I don't know. She's running track. That could come up sometime this spring, too.
And she's phenomenal at track, by the way.
Yeah, she really is. Okay. And what else do we have on the list of champions?
Yeah, we had a couple other of our local athletes win awards while we were gone over the last 2 weeks. Sammy Ruiz, who is the softball pitcher for Mount Lake Terrace, we mentioned her a couple weeks ago as hitting 3 home runs in a game. And for those efforts, the WIAA named her the Athlete of the Week for the entire state.
Wow.
And it was an award that we actually were fortunate enough to present to her during a softball game. Kim Stewart, the athletic director at Mount Lake Terrace, came up to me in the second inning while we were broadcasting a softball game and mentioned that she had just won this award and they wanted to surprise her with it after the game. So we actually did the presentation on the field while recording it, and it's something that can be seen on mltnews.com. So she wins that award, and while we're at Mount Lake Terrace, Shanae Okoronkwo, the phenomenal All-American track and field star who's won multiple state championships in her time at Mount Lake Terrace, she was named to the USA Today's All-American preseason team.
Wow.
She's won, 3 triple jump championships already in the state and going for her 4th one this year. She also excels in the pole vault, in the long jump, sprinting. She's just a phenomenal athlete. She's heading to the University of Wisconsin next year. So she makes the All-American preseason team. Not a bad week, or I guess I should say 2 weeks for some of our local lady athletes, and they're doing some big things around here.
I think we need to get Shanae on the show.
She will be here eventually. We will work on that. We're kind of saving her a little bit because I think when it comes to time to the state and the district, she's going to be amazing.
Okay, good. All right, and now we had some other local soccer people come on for our show.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Edmonds-Woodway a couple weeks ago, and then since we've last met here on This Week in High School Sports, Edmonds-Woodway has a loss and a tie on their record. So they've been surpassed by a few teams in the standings, one of which is the Lynwood Royals, a team that has only won 7 games total over the last 2 seasons. Lynwood's off to a nice start. They've won 6 of their first 9 matches, so they've got 2 losses and a tie. But more importantly for them, they're 4-1 in conference play, and 2 of their players, 2 juniors, have just had phenomenal seasons so far, scoring a ton of goals. Between them, they have 19 goals this season. That would be Dane, Evanger, and Ryley Johnson. We brought them in here earlier tonight and had a little interview with them. Here's the conversation we had. The Lynwood Royal soccer team is on the rise. 7 wins over the last 2 seasons, and yet this year they're already 6-2-1 to start off the year. These 2 guys right here have 19 goals combined. With us right now, Dane Evanger and Ryley Johnson. Guys, thank you for joining us. Quite the season so far. You guys have won 3 in a row. I know you lost to Glacier Peak about a week and a half ago, and since then, you've scored your opponents 11-0. What is going on with the Royals right now, Dane?
I'm not really sure. Like, it's great though. Like, I love it. It's great to play with a bunch of guys that actually can move the ball, get the ball to us at the top, and create chances and put the ball in the back of the net.
Now, Ryley, we just mentioned it. You guys only had 7 wins combined over 2 seasons. You've already got 6, and you're barely halfway through the year. You've played on those teams the last couple of years as well. Biggest difference for you this year?
Biggest difference for me is like Dane said, having more guys to work around, more guys with a winning mentality. We had a lot of seniors graduate last year, so it's a lot of new talent coming up, and it's a lot of fun to play with.
Now, I understand you guys, well, first of all, you guys have known each other for a while, and I think we've got a picture we're going to put up on the screen right there. This is you guys from, about 3 or 4 years ago? Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. You guys played with each other. You've played against each other in the offseason, it sounds like. And that competition kind of seeps into the regular season, too. I understand after talking to Dane's mom, you guys have a little bit of a rivalry in terms of scoring goals, right? I know Dane's got a 10-9 advantage right now. Talk to me a little bit about what that means to you guys. Ryley, I'll start with you since you're trailing right now by 1 goal.
Yeah. Well, obviously the number one thing is getting the win first, and afterwards we're always talking how many goals did you get? And since we both play up front, it helps to get each other a bunch of numbers on the year. And we're just looking to both have big seasons, and so we just compare each other each game just for a game.
Now, you seem to be spreading your goals out a little bit. You have 9. You don't have any hat tricks yet this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You, Dane, have 10 goals, but you've got 3 hat tricks already. That's where you score 3 goals in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to get them in bunches. What is it about your game that causes the massive hat tricks?
I guess it's just kind of like once I score, if I score early, I just kind of have that mentality, just score again. And then if I get 2, then I'm just like, okay, I need to score the 3rd now. And just, it happens. I don't know.
And he gets it. Now we need to get Ryley one of those hat tricks and pass him maybe coming up.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you guys have a game coming up on Tuesday against Everett, a team you beat 8-1 earlier this season. I think between the 2 of you, you had 5 or 6 goals in that last game. Perhaps another chance for you guys to get some more goals in that game. I mean, you've got to be licking your chops knowing that you're playing a team you just beat by 7, right, Ryley?
It's gonna be fun, yeah.
And now I'm looking at the schedule here. You're tied for 2nd place right now. It's pretty bunched up there. You've got Glacier Peak on the top, a bunch of teams with 1 loss, and you've got some of those teams coming up. I know you've got a big game with Marysville-Pilchuck coming up. You play Mount Lake Terrace on Friday. It's got to be a bit of a revenge game. They tied you earlier this year. Shorewood's still on the schedule. Edmonds-Woodway. It's not an easy schedule to finish out the year, is it?
No, it's gonna be tough, but I hope we can pull it out.
And pulling it out, they have done so far. I guess we should mention also, it's not just the 2 of you. You can't get those goals all by yourselves, right? Talk to me a little bit about your team. Maybe Ryley, we'll start with you. Who are some of the key contributors getting you guys the assist up front?
Well, we have a new midfielder this year, Henry Gonzalez. He plays on my club team, and so he knows me really well, and he's played with Dane a while. And he's really good at moving the ball. He has really good vision. He's really strengthened the midfield, and he's assisting both me and Dane a lot, which is creating a lot of chances.
You guys aren't giving up a lot of goals either, Dane. Talk to me a little bit about your defense so
Yeah,
far.
our defense is playing great. Sometimes, it looks sketchy back there, but they end up holding them out, and that's how we've been winning our games.
So, and they're doing a lot of winning indeed. Big season coming up still. A lot of games left before you get to these districts. I've got to think, though, this has been a lot of fun, right? It's a lot more fun winning than losing, correct?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Ryley, I'm going to ask you, too, since we've got a football audience out there. You had 13 touchdowns during the football season. You're both only juniors. You guys ready to go in the fall as well? You guys going to be back and contending again this year?
Yeah, we're looking to get to the playoffs this year, looking to have a big year for football.
So football of two kinds for this guy right here, but both of these guys together combining for one heck of a season so far. They're pacing the Royals. They're doing great, and looking forward to seeing what they're going to do the rest of the way. Dane Evanger, thank you very much. Ryley Johnson, best of luck to both of you guys, and stay tuned. We'll be talking for the next month or so all about these guys and what the Royals are doing out on the soccer field.
It's great to see the Lynwood soccer team having such success. And, we're going to talk about softball and specifically Meadowdale. And I was telling you earlier, I feel when we talk about Meadowdale softball the same way I felt when we were talking in the winter about Lynwood basketball.
I hadn't thought of it like that, but it's a great correlation. Both
Yeah.
teams dominating their opponents early in the season.
Yep, yeah, and just never seem to find anybody who can come close.
Yeah, and there's always somebody different to talk about with Meadowdale. I mean, it's whether it's one of their pitchers or somebody that's hitting home runs or scoring a bunch of runs. This particular week, it was Lauren Dent, the junior pitcher, who on April 1st, April Fool's Day, fooled a lot of hitters on the Lynwood Royals softball team. She threw a 10-strikeout no-hitter in 5 innings, and we interviewed Lauren to talk about that game. The Meadowdale Mavericks softball team just keeps rolling along. 8 straight wins to start the season. They've scored in double-digit run totals each of those 8 games. They've never given up more than 4 runs in a game. The games haven't been very close so far. And with us right now, one of their star pitchers, Lauren Dent. And we bring Lauren in because on April 1st, Lauren, you threw a no-hitter against Lynwood. 5-inning game, 14-0 was the final. You struck out 10. First of all, congratulations on throwing
Thank
the
you.
no-hitter. Is that one of those moments where you know early on in a game that you have your best stuff and that it seems easy that day?
I go into every game with like the mentality that today is going to be a good day and that I'm going to strike everyone out, and then from there I just play my game. So I don't when I was doing good, I just roll with it. It pumps me up. I don't know, and I had no idea I was throwing a no-hitter. It was like each batter, just focusing on each batter.
When you say you had no idea, did you not have an idea until after the game, or did
Yeah.
you know at some point during
Like my coach said, oh, I think it was a no-hitter, and I was like, wait, what? Seriously? Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And you struck out 10 in that game out of your 15 outs, so really
Yeah.
everything was working for you. We mentioned again, your team scores more than 10 runs, or you have so far each and every game. As a pitcher, does that make it easier on you, knowing that you can go out there and maybe it takes a little less pressure off, knowing you have such a great lineup behind you?
Yeah, it's really nice because then it's not as tight, and it's not you are focused on every strike. It's more relaxed, and you don't feel tension on the field. It's really nice.
And I should mention too, we've got a picture to put up of you there playing first base. You're not just a pitcher. I know Sam Gregoric pitches quite a bit as well. The two of you kind of go back and forth a little. So
Yeah.
where do you play in the field? Are you?
I mainly play first, but we have other first basemen Kaylee Williams and Julia Rubel last year played for first base, but now she's taken over second. So I played there more this year, but yeah.
And I want to ask you about a couple other players too. We kind of previewed the team a few weeks ago when we had Julia and Sam in here, but I know Lauren Wallace had a huge game for you guys the other day in that Lynwood game. Transfer from Kamiak.
Yeah.
How has it been for her to come and play with this team for the first time?
It's amazing. She's really talented, and I know that if someone's going to get a hit off of me, then she's got my back there at short, and she'll dive for balls, and she's athletic and is able to get balls that you wouldn't think someone could get, but it's amazing.
And I know as a pitcher, catcher's always an important position.
Yeah.
You have a great one. Emma Helm, who is only a junior, already committed to playing at the University of Washington in 2 years. Talk to me a little bit about Emma's strengths and what that means to you as a pitcher.
She is able to make a curveball for me. She's able to make it look like a perfect strike, and she's got an amazing arm, so if there's someone on base, I know she'll be able to throw them out, and it's just really nice for me as a pitcher to have such like a talented catcher and behind the plate to make me look good, and like just it's really cool.
Now, you guys are coming off spring break. You had so much momentum going before the break. Like I said, 8 wins and all relatively easy wins at that. And maybe you just made it look easy, but
Yeah.
having not played now for a week and trying to get back into the swing of things, do you worry about you or your teammates being a little rusty coming off of a little time off?
No, I think we're all like super talented players, so I think we can just jump back on it and keep rolling. Plus, like it's only been a week. Well, I think we'll be fine.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
And the one last question I want to ask, I've noticed that there's something on the wrist of the players at times when they're in the field, letters of some sort.
Yeah.
What exactly do we have going on there with Meadowdale?
We put GBG on our wrists before every single game, and it's pretty much stands for our goal at like for every game and at the end of the year. And we're not allowed to tell anyone what it is, and it's a total secret till the end of the year. But it like keeps us motivated and keeps us like remembering what our goal is, and it's nice like to have as that goal for the end of the year.
This is a team that's finished third in state 2 of the last 3 years. So hopefully if you get that state championship this year, we'll find out what GBG really means and kind of figure it out once the season's over. But hopefully you're playing for at least another month and a half or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're down in Lacey, perhaps winning a state championship. Lauren, congratulations so far in the season.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and continued success for you and your Mavericks teammates.
Thank you.
And you know, Lauren's pitching performance was just one of many over the last couple weeks, and there's some boys baseball pitchers who've done some amazing things, right?
We had some great performances this week. Tommy Dimmick from Meadowdale threw a complete game, no earned runs in a 6-1 win over Glacier Peak. Jared Whitman, the junior from Lynwood, who had been nursing an injury and hadn't been pitching to start the season, gets his first start also on April 1st. The same day Lauren was throwing, the Meadowdale pitcher was throwing a no-hitter against Lynwood softball. Jared from the Lynwood baseball team was throwing a no-hitter against the Meadowdale
What
baseball
are the
team.
odds?
Yeah, really, April 1st too, so
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody thought that was a joke, but it was very true. Jared, who had an outstanding year as a sophomore last year, only lost 1 game, his first pitching performance of the year, and he doesn't give up a single hit.
Wow.
And then we've got Brady Edwards, the Edmonds-Woodway pitcher, who pitched a 2-hit shutout against Mount Lake Terrace on Wednesday. We brought Brady into the studio tonight to talk about that game a little bit. The Edmonds-Woodway Warriors off to an 8-3 start on their baseball season. One of the reasons, this guy right here threw a 2-hit shutout last week against the Mount Lake Terrace Hawks. Brady Edwards joining us right now. Brady, you're off to a great start so far. 1.52 ERA on the mound. Had 2 straight games now in which you've pitched a complete game and you've only given up 1 run total. Talk to me about your season a little bit. What's been working for you on pitching?
Everything's working pretty good right now. Over the off season, I really worked on my changeup, and I didn't really have that in my pitch selection last year. So, and that's honestly probably one of my better pitches now. So, I go fastball, usually changeup now, and then curveball. It was totally opposite the years before.
Yeah, and you're getting complete games. Really, you're not the only one pitching complete games at this point either. You guys are on a three-player rotation right now, which is perfect because you normally play Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I guess you're kind of the middle guy in that rotation right now. But Nick Hull, who's been pitching a lot of the Tuesdays, he's thrown 3 straight complete games. And then you've got Brandon Mitchell, who is off to a 3-0 start. I know he had an ERA under 1.4 before Friday's game. He got a little roughed up in the first inning, but came back and got a no decision. Talk to me about the 2 juniors a little bit and what they've meant to the pitching rotation.
It's great. The pitching staff is really strong this year. Nick really sets the tone how he pitches on Tuesday, and he sets the tone for the rest of the game. He really does good controlling the game speed. He keeps the speed going. He really controls the batters, it looks like. When I play first base, it really looks like he does what he wants to do out there. And then I feed off of that the next day, and then Brandon goes in there and does his thing. He's really worked hard over the offseason, Brandon has. He's gained a lot of miles per hour on his fastball. This is really doing good.
And he's done a nice job for you in the field as well when he's not pitching, right?
He's a really good shortstop, really solid. He can make a lot of plays, a lot of range.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your lineup really quick. I know in the game that you pitched the 2-hit shutout, Reed Whitson, Dominic Marinez, Justin Chartrand all had 2 hits. Garrison Crone had a 3 RBI game. Some of those names, amongst others, having a nice season so far. Talk to us a little bit about the lineup in general and what they've meant to you guys as pitchers.
Reed's doing an awesome job this year as a senior. Real big leader. he hasn't been hitting that well in like years before, but this year he's really stood out, and he's last few games he's been hitting leadoff, so he's really doing that. And then Dominic, he's always been the same, just fast, bunts, hits, everything, stealing bases. Nothing's really changed with him, but he's keeping it going. And then Dustin, we didn't have him last year, but he transferred in, made a really big impact this year, so that's good.
Gutsy play on Friday, by the way. You guys won a 6-5 game in 9 innings against Mount Lake Terrace. Dustin was on third base. I think there were 2 outs on a passed ball. Didn't get sent in, right? Will Budnick didn't send him home, and he just took off running and made the winning run there. That had to be a big thrill for you guys.
It was big time because it was not, what was it, like 4, what was the score?
It was 5-5 at the time
5-5.
in the 9th inning. Yeah, you guys were getting late.
It was big time, so he saw the ball bounce away from the catcher. It was really close to the catcher. It didn't bounce that far, but he went for it and he was safe, so it won the game for us.
And you guys needed it. Big series coming up with Meadowdale. I should mention that you guys are still trailing Shorewood and Lynwood in the standings. Meadowdale and Glacier Peak are kind of all tied in there right with you guys. 4 teams are going to go out of those 5 into districts. Got a 3-game series coming up with Meadowdale. It means a lot in the standings, but it also means a lot in terms of a rivalry series. How excited are you for that series this week?
It'll be good. We have a little bit of momentum coming in from weeks before, and then we have 2 games at Meadowdale and 1 at home, so if we can just keep it going, and with our pitching and hitting, we're going good right now. So.
And I know we're recording this on a Sunday night. You guys are just coming off spring break. I know you just came directly from a fundraiser. The team got together and watched a movie tonight. I guess it was Field of Dreams, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean for you guys right now to kind of do things together and the bonding experience and what that does for a baseball team?
We usually do it every single year. It's good because our coach really likes to get us together and like gets the team connection going, and it really helps during games too because we have no weird interactions or anything. Everything, it's like a family really every single year. So.
And I haven't asked you yet, but your grandfather Wayne, who was an assistant on the girls basketball team this year, he was the longtime coach for the Edmonds-Woodway boys basketball team.
Yeah.
I've got to think you've grown up around the Warrior programs and maybe even grown up a Warrior, so to speak. What does it mean for you now as you've been playing basketball and other sports and baseball and being able to wear the Royal name on your jerseys and on your shirts and sweatshirts? How big is this for you, somebody growing up around the programs?
It's crazy because I always grew up with my grandpa, going to all of the basketball games with him and thinking like that's going to be me one day. That's crazy. And then it's me now, and it's really cool because all the little kids come out to the games. I just remember me like that was me. I just want to be a good role model for all of them, and I've been around the program for a long time, so it's cool.
Yeah, he's and a good role model indeed, not only on the field but off. And again, you keep throwing 2-hit shutouts, you'll be a great role model, and you'll take your team a long way. So again, Edmonds-Woodway 8-3 so far to start the baseball season. Big series coming up with Meadowdale. Then you've got a couple more series after that. 9 games left before you get to districts. Brady, best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in tonight, and we'll look forward to watching you over the next few weeks.
Sounds good.
And my story about Brady is that I remember when his grandfather was coaching Edmonds-Woodway girls, which he also did in addition to the boys, and he would have to leave to go watch Brady playing baseball or basketball, and he was just a youngster, 9 years old, and now he's all grown up.
Yeah, we have a picture of him right here, by the way. That was from last Wednesday when he threw the 2-hit shutout. Certainly not that youngster anymore, but it is fun when some of these students we've seen them around the programs for years, whether it's because a parent or a grandparent in Brady's case were coaching the programs, or maybe it's older siblings that have been playing sports. And these students, they grow up idolizing the teams and the players, and now they get to be in that position themselves. So certainly a neat experience for Brady, and it's been fun watching him over the course of the last year, not only in baseball, but really also playing football and basketball.
Yeah, he's a great 3-sport athlete, actually. And one last thing, we have some track.
We do. Track's been off since March 31st. A few of our teams picked up nice victories back then, but they've been off for about a week and a half now, and they get things rolling again this week. We have a number of invitationals and track meets on Thursday, but the one that we'll really be tracking this week, no pun intended.
Oh, that was a good one.
Didn't mean to work that in there. The Nike Easton Invitational is coming up on Saturday, and that's going to take place at Snohomish High School over at Veterans Memorial Stadium. This is an invitational in which track athletes from throughout the state come and participate. Don't have a list of all the participants yet, but we're sure that a lot of our athletes locally are going to be taking part in that invitational, and we hope to have some of those results up and we're talking about them next Sunday when we do our next This Week in High School Sports.
Okay, good. Well, thanks, Steve, and thanks to Sean Richards and Red Onion Burgers for coming on as our sponsor, and we will see you next week.